I'm Dan Burykin. I'm a managing partner of Fastlane Solution, and I have experience in managing and investing in STEM businesses for the last 25 years. And I like doing this, and I'm here to moderate this panel and to share the experience with the community. I believe by sharing the experience with the community, we are making the community better, and we are creating more opportunities for everyone in this community. Right? The topic of our panel is the investment trends, international investment trends, and we have a very high-profile esteemed panelists today. I will let them introduce themselves in just a bit. But before that, I would like to encourage the audience that are listening to say hi in the comments and maybe put the name of the city that you are from, right? So it would be very interesting to see what the audience we have and address this later. So international trends, investment trends, there's been so much change. It's in a true sense, it's a true time of change or window of change. There's been logistical patterns changing, procurement patterns changing, geopolitical changes, reassessment of investment risk around the globe by all the different investors, groups of investors, and many other reasons. Partnerships being challenged, right? So here we are. We have our panelists from many different countries, and I would like to give an opportunity for them to introduce. Please introduce yourself, say your name, and maybe tell us your motto, your personal motto as well. So I would like to start with the ladies first, of course. Ruchi, over to you.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Ruchi Dana. I'm a medical doctor and a Stanford MBA. I'm logged in here from Dubai, and I represent Dana Family Office. We make direct investments into startups and various other asset classes. I mainly look at investments into startups and some pre-IPO deals. I'm really looking forward to this session. Thank you so much, Dan, for inviting.
Thank you, Ruchi. And what would be your motto, personal motto?
So I always believe like to be like excellent in everything. So like sort of like excellence in execution, that would be my motto.
Thank you, Ruchi. And Jessica?
Yes, sure. Hi, my name is Jessica Wang. I'm a partner at IMP Capital in Canada. IMP Capital is a venture capital firm with offices and networks in Canada and North America, Australia, China, and Europe. Our vision is to combine extensive investment expertise, wide international network, and deep industry experience in empowering entrepreneurs to achieve best-in-class businesses and provide investors with extraordinary returns. Our motto is actually, I'll give you our firm's motto, is to invest out unicorns. So, we not only try and identify the companies with disruptive technology, but also, we strive to work with them and grow with them in a vast runway that we think has huge potential.
Very profitable, I'm sure.
Trying.
Yeah.
There's some good news. Yeah.
Yeah, Irfan, if I may.
Thank you, Dan. My name is Irfan Malik. I'm the global CEO of Incubation. We are a global open innovation ecosystem incubator accelerator program headquartered at the Sydney Startup Hub here in Australia. And I've been here in Australia for the last 20 plus years. We've got our branch offices in India, a strong footprint there in India across 3 cities there and growing, including Cochin, Bangalore, and Mumbai, and also a strong presence in Singapore and a growing presence in Dubai as part of our Middle East. We call that as part of the extended Indian ecosystem. both Singapore and Dubai. We obviously have run quite a lot of cohorts of incubator programs as well as accelerator, and we've changed the model quite a bit. Now I'm focusing quite a lot on the Australia-India innovation bridge space across connecting the ecosystem. That includes the startups, the founders, the incubator CEOs, the Gov innovation agencies, but also the strong investor connect, and definitely keen to look forward to really facilitating wholesale investors and crisp platforms like that as well to have access to India. And yeah, being hands-on, deeply involved in curating great successful startups. My motto and vision, and yeah, definitely drive is to really focus on impactful investments, not purely social impact, but creating high growth ventures and investments at the right time with the right kind of strategic investment partners to help curate those high growth ventures. And we invest. We have got our fund as well, which we invest in pre-Series A to early stage pre-Series A to pre-IPO stage. Focus a lot between pre-Series A and Series B, Series C investment. And our focus also is to look for co-investment opportunities where the impact is double and work alongside with government as well. That's me, Irfan Malik, and look forward to this great, exciting session and sharing my insights as well, connected with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. It feels like your day will never end. There's so much happening there. Yeah. Amin.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having us today. My name is Amin Matni, and I'm heading programs at Qatar Business Incubation Center. I have a couple of roles under the establishment. The first one is head of training. So I train startups from idea stage or once they are in the market live and they pick up pace and to achieve product market fit. The second role that I have is I'm heading the digital incubator under the incubator, being a mixed incubator, Cubic. And that is in partnership with the telco Ooredoo. We have a fund, and I manage that fund to help startup at early stage, pre-seed and seed. And the third role that I put is I'm an angel, always scouting for interesting gigs, just to keep us alive, practitioners.
Thank you very much, Amin. And what is your personal motto in all of it?
I tell my kids and my startup the same thing, no dilly-dally. Whether persevere, whether pivot or drop it.
Yeah, that's very good. Straight to the point. All right. Look, it's really great to have so diversified representation here today from different areas, from different perspectives. And that's what our audience is really interested to understand, right? To understand what's happening, what's changing, why. So my first question will be very much the same, for everyone, but we'll try to go around the table, starting with Amin, possibly as first. Working in this business incubating center, that is, I understand, is one of the largest in the Middle East in your area. So you are certainly observing changes and trends, right? What kind of new startups or new business ideas, maybe not new, but maybe new in terms of size or some other type of products, industry segments. What are you observing in the last, say, 6 to 12 months coming from starting in your area?
Thank you. I mean, identifying the trends, it's an ongoing thing. We saw a big hype in the beginning once the Uber, the Uber Eat and all the international brands that came out in expansion in the region took a hype and influenced the startups. So we saw a follow trend towards those. But later on and lately, we've seen vertical focus in health tech, driven by IoT, blockchain, deep tech, fintech is growing big time here. And we just roll out in part of Qatar Development Bank, a fintech incubator and a sports tech incubator. So the diversification of the portfolio under the development bank has been triggering focus areas. And we've seen the startups responding. We've seen the professionals in the market responding to that.
So it sounds like a lot of focus on tech in across different segments at the same time. Is there any particular change to the investors' behavior or to the founders' behavior in the last 6 to 12 months among those?
Indeed, I mean, this is weird time, and what we try to do with our cohorts is to sustain them and to keep our network of angels and VCs alive through virtual touch points. And that is important to, first of all, sustain the portfolio and trigger new opportunities that per se are short-lived. Those business models triggered by COVID might not sustain, but they're good. And some of the new pivots of existing startups benefited from those circumstances to monetize on them and provide value for customers and the market. As you know, there's a huge cautiousness between the startups to manage their runways, and from the investors not to go on a hype that is short-lived. So some quick wins happened, but nevertheless, the angels and VCs look at long-term returns. So it's a weird time, but now towards normalization, a new normal, we see things are coming alive towards long-term visions rather than short-lived gigs.
Well, I hope that will definitely bring benefits to the community, to the investors, and the founders. You know, the focus on the healthy foundations and the long-term view at the same time can be tricky to combine. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Amin. Irfan, you're working across several jurisdictions. You're working across several countries. So, what trends do you see coming recently out of your Indian startup community?
Yeah, great. I think this is, one of the best opportunities I see for Indian startups. Obviously, over the last 5 to 6 years, I've been operating in both India and Australian ecosystem and Dubai as well. I've been investing into various startups myself. And as we been running these programs, we've been also curating global market access program for some of these startups, especially out of India and also Australia. This obviously COVID has been a game changer for almost all the ecosystems, but most importantly for India, this has been a major reset, and it's actually transformed the opportunities. Some sectors are huge, obviously medtech, pharma tech being great, and also the geopolitical situation also making India kind of a great partner to look out for. An aligned partner to look out for. That's opened up huge opportunities for startups. Naturally, startups can react or respond to opportunities much quicker than larger corporates, and hence startups are all taking up the mantle. And I've seen some amazing ideas being curated, fast tracked with obviously support from government and various ecosystem partners there. What's been great is to see some amazing ideas and startups accelerated from tier 2, tier 3 cities. It's not the Bangalores, it's not the Hyderabad, it's not the Delhi and Chennai. It's also from smaller cities that they are emerging, and they're emerging with a global outlook as well. And this is something which even investors are taking a cue, and we are actively working with those emerging opportunities. There's some great opportunities in agri-tech, like future of farming using AI, blockchain and all. Great story for, of course, Australia also is a great farming nation. There's a lot of synergies possible, and I'm seeing a great trend there. From an investor perspective as well, obviously, I see whilst all of them are trying to protect and sustain their portfolio of investments, but I'm seeing a lot more co-investment opportunities. People are looking to work alongside with government, various funds or fund of funds as well. So huge opportunity and trends I'm seeing. Of course, as I said, medtech, agri-tech, defense tech, pharma tech. Some of these sectors are going through a huge growth in India, and also opportunities for Australian companies or investors as well as startups to look for collaboration. And I always look at Singapore and Dubai and the Middle East as part of the extended Indian ecosystem, both from consumption perspective, but also investor perspective. I'm sure in Qatar and Dubai, some of the startups have got presence or some kind of a collaboration going on with India as well. So I think the whole region is going to be benefiting a lot, and of course the government is also driving a lot of aligned programs. I think it's an exciting space to watch, and I would strongly recommend working with ecosystem partners who can leverage access, but also deliver some of those market access outcomes as well, which is what we're looking to achieve.
Thank you. I think I will ask the questions that is on everyone's mind. It is very sad and very unfortunate to see that the COVID trend currently rolling up across India. How do you see this impacting or not maybe impacting too much the investment and startup community that you are involved in?
Yeah.
What do you see? How's that? From your experience.
So from my perspective, I have obviously the first couple of months. So in fact, I was in India, February, March in India and Dubai as part of a trade delegation, and we were doing a lot of market access program. And then COVID hit early in March, and obviously the first few months was about just to gauge how bad can this get? How do we really deal with this? And no one's seen this has been unprecedented and stuff. So I think it was a bit of a lying low, and making yourself stable, make yourself safe, be healthy and stuff, protect the team and things like that for I think the first couple of months. But since late May, where people have realized this is the new norm, we're connected digitally, and I mean everyone's on Zoom, and big deals are being done on Zoom. So I think people are getting used to it. So from an investor perspective, obviously, as I said, it was about protecting the portfolio of investment, but also look at new opportunities. What I've definitely seen change. I mean, this has been traditional Indian investors, kind of theme of definitely focusing on revenues and business growth was definitely there. Not just that you've got a great client base or you've got a great market access and your balance sheet doesn't look good. It's also about generating revenue and also your flexibility to pivot and look at opportunities. Some of our startups that our investment portfolio, they've done some amazing things over this period. I mean, whether it's for cybersecurity, medtech, pharma tech, and agri-tech, and they've accelerated. In fact, and I'm seeing more and more global play happening and global collaboration. The startups are looking to go global or going global much early in the game rather than waiting for 2-3 years. They're looking at within under a year. They're thinking about parallel markets to validate their product or solution, validate their customer base there, as well as investor validation as well. They are looking at, and I'm seeing a lot of it. And of course, the investors are also conscious that it's also about sales, distribution partners. How it's not about what is the ask and how much. It's also how that's going to be deployed and what outcomes will be delivered as well. So there are more active interest, and also I've seen a lot more strategic investment plays. So, for example, Australian investors or Australian startups looking at India to collaborate. They're also looking at Indian investors where they will not only invest in these entities, but also become strategic investors for either for manufacturing partnership or sales or distribution partnership, which with their network they can offer. So I'm seeing a lot of dynamics in play, and of course with support from government, which is really activated right from the helm top down, and also individually states Wang as well, and similar play in Australia as well, where there's initial days of gloom, but people are coming to terms and they're looking for new ways. And I think this Australia-India dynamics, both geopolitical and market opportunity, presents great opportunity for both these ecosystems to leverage. And of course, I'm looking at Singapore, Dubai, Qatar ecosystems to also benefit from that growth.
So it's clear that our startup community is adopting quickly and coming up with innovative counteraction. If we call it COVID an action on a system, then there is always a counteraction for. I think that's great. Jessica, in your experience, what are the investment trends that you potentially observe emerging? Maybe if I can narrow it down between Canada and China, it's always an interesting aspect, or maybe other angles of your business.
Yeah, I guess between Canada and China, it's a bit sensitive time right now, albeit all the political things that's happening. There's actually, interestingly, China is one of the first country that effectively controlled COVID and have pretty much throughout have pretty much throughout the whole country now reopened their economy and coming back. And Canada is right now, like here in BC, we're in a bit better situation, but overall, we'd say Canada has also done incredibly well in controlling COVID, and so to a certain extent, it has not hugely affected the startup community, but COVID I guess in the eyes of Canadian entrepreneurs and as well as Chinese entrepreneurs, COVID really is more of a catalyst. So it actually sped up the digitization and development of certain areas. For example, China is right now going through huge, rapid reformation in, and moving into their more advanced manufacturing fields because of the trade relationship. They have somewhat scaled back from, like the traditional sort of manufacturing exporting to the U.S. And then right now there's a huge appetite inside of the country looking for higher tech opportunities, technologies that's in, fintech, e-commerce, in health science, biotech, and as well as clean tech and renewable energies. Those are the areas that there are a lot of enterprise money actually looking. And because and here Canada actually has a somewhat I think Canada has an advantage in terms of our more diverse and open culture, where we have a lot of and we have a very open immigration policy where there are a lot of talents. It attracts talents from all over the world. Developers from the Middle East or from Russia, from India that was having a hard time getting their visa to the U.S. There's a lot of those people that ended up coming to Canada. So there's a really good environment for innovation. And there's a lot of startup companies, technologies in those areas that I highlighted. So I think actually for those companies, and this is a shout out to really, I think all of the global company startups companies, because China would be a great ground to expand your market right now. Because there's huge capital there, there's great appetite. However, because of the geopolitical issues, those capitals are not really very actively going out to the U.S. and so on. So if you could go to them, right now might be actually a great time.
So maybe Wholesale Investor can help with solving some of that, right?
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jessica. I do have a lot of other questions, but I want to hear out Ruchi's perspective as well. Ruchi, you have quite an interesting mix of experience and involvement as well in New York City and in Middle East, right? And in some other communities. What trends do you see from that angle?
Sure. So I'm really excited about the startup ecosystem in the Middle East because it's just growing exponentially right now. Because there were some recent acquisitions. For example, Souk was bought over by Amazon, and then Kareem was bought over by Uber for over $3 billion, and that was very recent. So that's why, the young generation is so motivated right now to do something on their own, and that's really exciting. And the best part is that the government is supporting quite a lot, and the government is actually going out of the way to support entrepreneurs and to support like the startups, and in terms of even the funding. And one of the key challenges that I see in the Middle East is that there's at times lack of talent. And because as Jessica was correctly saying that once you get a lot of access to talent, then like startups could immediately flourish in that with the help of that talent. So the government is doing a very good job in that sense as well. So they have actually started a matching program in which like they can even match the funds that a VC raises. So when a VC is raising a fund, he can actually come to Abu Dhabi and then set up a fund here, and then the government can match a part of it. So that actually helps the VCs to come to the Middle East as well. And once the VCs come, the startups would come, and so that's how like the talent would actually come to the Middle East. So like Middle East is a good place, but in terms of talent, things have been a little down because also in terms of deep tech, there are not many startups here in the Middle East because it's from the universities that there's some researchers coming out and like some good talent that comes out of universities. Those are the people that actually start deep tech startups. So again, for that, the government is taking some good initiatives. Just last week I was on a panel of a deep tech startup showcase by the NYU University. So that was exciting. It's good to see like a lot of deep tech startups coming out of this region and a lot of talent inflowing into this region. So that's really exciting. In terms of COVID, I can see like the main trends are again in ed tech and in life science, med tech. And for me personally, that's a good thing because I'm a doctor, so I get to see all these interesting companies. And in fact, we invested in a couple of companies after COVID-19, and they were again like mainly in the healthcare space. But it's good to see. The sad thing is that if you look at other startups, like even worldwide, like the valuations are sort of going down, and there's a sort of like many down rounds happening. But in terms of healthcare, like we still have to pay the high valuation because healthcare is like getting the right tailwinds and it's blooming right now. So that's what we focus mainly on medtech and like digital health and life science, biotech. So those are the startups that I'm really excited about, and a lot of attention is going to them, even from the government sides and from the incubators. And also, it's exciting time, and these are startups that can actually bring about an impact as well. So that's the good thing.
And what would you say about this interesting fact that Irfan and Amin actually pointed at a slight, or maybe not slight, shift to strategic longer investment horizons. Do you see the same happening in your area?
Yeah, so suddenly, like even a lot of family offices have started to invest into startups, and family offices are mainly like patient capital. And the reason for those investments is again like because of these good exits that this region gave. Everybody is so excited. Even the next generation of family business people, they are really excited about startups, and they have started to make these investments. And the family office investments are mainly like patient capital, long term, and they also care a lot about impact. So that's again a good thing. So instead of like being driven by the VCs to like just bump up the valuation and all, family offices are much more patient, and they care more about the impact that startup would bring even to the various lives of people. And like maybe even like some of these families also like sort of incubate the startup, and then like once it gets ready, they even acquire it. And I think that's again a good model because oftentimes innovation in a business comes from outside, so it's not possible for the in-house team to think out of the box ideas. So it's a good thing that like you can actually like seed a startup, and then like once it gets to a mature stage, you can actually help incorporate it within the company itself. That's a new thing that we are seeing here.
Okay, thank you, Ruchi. Jessica, what about you? Are you noticing this shift towards longer investment horizons, or some longer commitments from the investors into the startup community?
I would say it depends on the different fields. In fact, we're actually seeing sort of a shorter period, not in terms of expectations of angels and venture capitals, but in terms of the time that startup companies take to become unicorns potentially. So that cycle has, because it used to be, you got to really have the patience for at least 5, 7, 9, 10 years to actually invest out a unicorn. But recently, when we look at the trend, there's a speeding up in terms of like how industries are transforming and how the technology is really disrupting like certain traditional industry and sectors, and companies could emerge really like within very short period of time and become a unicorn in a little less than 5 years, 3 years. So that's obviously encouraging news, I think, for investors like us. We gotta have the patience, but it seems that your patience are getting paid off faster. So.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Thank you. Thanks for that perspective. Say I'm a founder. I have an idea, or maybe I have in revenue startup. Why would I come to Amin, to yourself? Why would I come to your business center?
I think being based in Qatar, there is key stakeholders that operate in the country. And from Business Incubation Center is owned by Qatar Development Bank. So from the first hand, you see that the alignment of follow-up investment is already laid out to the startup. The second thing, being catered by the needed knowledge and tools, the needed network, the needed infrastructure, and pre-seed, seed, laid up for the startup is important. Access to local investors where we do investor series. And also we help the startups to showcase overseas, to peek in adjacent markets. So it's a good platform to help them de-risk their business models and do follow-up investments. Having partnerships on a national level with key stakeholders will open up doors for them and will subsidize a lot of expenses, which is key for a startup at early stage.
Absolutely. And in your mentorship or trainer roles that you introduced earlier, what would be the top 3 advices that you can give to right now to the founders?
Assume nothing. I think this is the first thing that we always tell them, that our opinion and their opinion doesn't matter. What we care about is to do sprints and validate in the market what hots and what not for the customer's perspective. The second advice is that put them is speed. It's important to have speed in market and execute and understand what matters to their business model to achieve a repeatable and scalable business model. And the third one definitely is always getting the right people on board, having the right synergies, shared vision, and the true passion to go this roller coaster, because nothing is easy at these stages. There's a lot of challenges for a startup, and being agile mentally and on the ground is important, deeply important for them.
Thank you, Amin. I hope the founders will listen to that. From my experience, these are definitely very, very useful, practically useful advices. So thank you for sharing your experience
Pleasure.
With us. Irfan, From your experience in Australian and Indian community and facilitating these businesses, what can you recommend to the founders from India trying to enter the Australian market, working with Australian investors?
Yeah, I think as many of the political leaders and also various government officials have been reiterating in the last 2-3 months, there's been never a great time in terms of Australia-India relationship and opportunities. We just had recently, last month, a virtual summit between both the prime ministers of Australia and India as well, and that's just taking strength to strength, I suppose. So obviously, opportunity is great. And there are sectors where both Australia and India want to collaborate. I always say part of this whole Australia-India bridge, India presents a great opportunity for Australian startups because obviously they just mere entry into Indian market, the sheer size of the market, gets the valuation through the roof, but also opportunity to scale is beyond kind of imagination. Plus, you can look at synergies, partnerships in manufacturing or scaling up opportunities. And it's a great launch pad for an Australian startup in India before targeting the rest of Asia or Middle East or looking at Europe or US. And vice versa. Australia is a great market to be a soft landing, kind of a market for Indian startups before they think big and look at markets like US, because it's kind of a perfect market where they can do client validation or the customer validation. They can do the market validation, the right size of market to validate your scalable solution, and also investor validation. So before you go and reach out to New York and your San Francisco based investors, I think this is a great market to really validate, grow, and then scale as well. So it's a great opportunity for Indian startups. More so, my outlook is definitely focusing on sales and distribution, global outlook, having global partnerships early in the game itself, which is going to really give the startups the trajectory that they will be looking for. Lead up to everyone. All the startups can't be unicorns, but definitely give that high growth venture scale up trajectory, and that's where they need to look for global outlook and global partners as well. And of course, definitely platforms like Wholesale Investors and CRISP. It presents a great opportunity where now they are exposed to a larger pool of investors globally. And of course, once they are vetted and validated for these target markets, access to capital and investment is huge, and hence that can help them grow. And my always, in fact, I'm working with some Indian startups, amazing stories. But it's also when I'm looking at launching them, I'm launching a few startups in the next weeks to come in medtech, cybersecurity, in agri-tech, and some in the hot space of PPE and medical and pharma space. It's important to really position your product, but also, being conscious of obviously, the product feature, but also, certain elements of design, how, you're positioning your product at a global level. It's all very little things, but it does matter. And of course, working with the right partners as well in the target market makes a huge difference in terms of giving you that acceleration. So definitely trying to facilitate this Australia Bridge program with market access programs where various ecosystem partners, including the government and investor ecosystem and the incubator, all of them are coming together to really assist helping companies scale and scaling up earlier rather than waiting till late. So that's what we are working through.
Thank you. For me, you are making one of the interesting points about soft launch of the Indian business, right, in leveraging mature Australian market. And this is really a great opportunity in terms of multiples. Of course, it is higher risk reward, but it's a great opportunity in terms of multiples for Australian early stage investors or whoever is involved. And it's not just Australian, it can be pretty much that concept might be working all over the world. Jessica, if I may ask you, your role being involved working with high wealth individuals and investors, what maybe 3 areas of advice, categories of advice can you give these people right now? What should they look for, or maybe something from your experience?
Sure. Well, I would say number one is always people, right? So when you are looking at no matter what technology or what sector, you gotta look at the team to see whether they have the right sort of the elements, having the vision, the execution, the team alignment, their unique ability, and so on. So I think that because basically when you find a good team that's dedicated, that's just 100% on whatever they're doing, frankly, you almost can't go wrong. They create something and they get it done. They'll make it work. So to find the right team definitely is the most important. Number two, I'd say look at the you gotta have the foresight. So look where the industry where our world is going, because you want to be on a emerging industry, a market that's big, that has great growth potential, that potentially could fit many players in there. So once you identify a good company in there, they have a better chance of succeeding. And lastly, I guess know yourself, because that's I found, because every single person, we have our preferences, and I myself, for example, I'm a eternal optimist. So I look at every single startup business and I think, oh, this could work, but obviously, I cannot be the one that does the risk control for our team. So, so if you are looking at, especially investing in early stage startup companies, private equity, venture capital, it's a high risk, very limited liquidity. So you wanted to, number one, diversify, and number two, find someone with the expertise that complements you. So
great advice, sir. By the way, do you imply that a lot of investors are optimists by nature?
Well, it's interesting. I think it's half. It's for example, in our team, we have two ex-PwC auditors who are just internally, like conservatism, and the first thing. So it's great to have people like that on your team. When we look at a company, I'd be working on their, on their business development, on their market expansion, on their potential. My partners could, look at their financial model and see how things could go wrong, and where it could go wrong, and what potential problem there could have. And when you combine that together, you get a much better picture of the company that you're looking for, and you will it will increase your odds.
Of course, thank you, Jessica. Ruchi, I saved this one for the last. I just want to maybe draw special attention to this. From your experience with the women in the business, and especially with the founders, right? What advice would you give them, right? Especially in this difficult time.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for that question. That question is something that's very close to my heart as well, because I've seen a number of women face a lot of trouble in raising funds, and even making the right mindset to actually start a company. First of all, I would say this is the perfect time to start a company, because this is a bad crisis situation, but also like there are so many new opportunities that can come across, like the whole culture of working from home. It can give like some extra time to people, and the whole culture of actually working from home is making the men realize how hard it is to actually tackle the children and like multitask all the way. So I can see like even in terms of like corporate jobs and all, I can see like a lot of policies would change, I think, for like as a whole, because everybody is now aware of the like how work can be done at home. So that's one thing. So I think it's a good time to start. Apart from that, like in terms of like raising funds, I would say one of the good things right now is that there are a number of business relief packages, number of grants that are available for specifically for COVID-19 startups and even otherwise for SMEs. So it's best to take advantage of those and to like maybe have an Excel sheet with all the deadlines in one place, and then like take a weekend out and apply to all of those grants in one go, because that makes the entire system much more efficient, because otherwise it will become overwhelming. But it's really useful to apply to all of these opportunities that you get, because like these are non-dilutive sources of capital, and that can help your company in a long run as well, and that shows that you actually put in the hard work, and that could help in the next round of fundings as well. So I think like at this point of time, the most relevant advice would be like if you're thinking about starting a startup, like just go with it and start it. And the next round, like about funding, it's good to actually take advantage of the situation and apply for the grants, competitions, prizes, business relief packages, because this is how like a company can actually weather the crisis right now, and it will show good in terms of like raising the next round as well. So that's what I feel. And the good thing is that there are a number of women angel networks now arising in almost all the geographies, and they're actually helping quite a lot. And even like women who are like doing their corporate jobs and all, they're also doing a lot of more angel investments right now. So that's again a good way to actually look for capital. And in the last, I would just say that this is a quote by Oprah Winfrey: "You get in life what you have the courage to ask for." So just don't be shy of asking for help or asking for any introduction and all. The worst that could happen is somebody would say no, but that's not the end of anything, right? Like, but it's important to take advantage of the situation.
Thank you, Ruchi. Thank you very much. I really hope that advice will be taken on board, and it certainly resonates with, in my experience, very practical nature of those women entrepreneurs that I know of, right? So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for supporting that community as well. From my understanding, you're very active in that role as well. So it's really, exciting to have everyone today, and it is really sad for me to notice that we are running out of time, because I really want to talk, and I have more questions. So maybe later on there will be an opportunity to connect and to discuss online and virtually. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amin. Thank you, Irfan. Thank you, Jessica and Ruchi. Thank you for participating in today's panel and sharing your experience.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting everybody.
Cheers. Thank you.